Good afternoon. My name is David Shoemaker. This is my persuasive speech for Communications 101 at Liberty University. I am here today to talk to you about why I believe offering educational programs, drug treatment, and job training to inmates can reduce the amount of recidivism that we are experiencing in the United States. Recidivism refers to the relapse back into criminal behavior, often after receiving sanctions or undergoing intervention for a previous crime. According to the Pew Research Center on the States, 1 in 100 American adults is currently in prison. U.S. Department of Justice statistics show that 67% of those inmates will recidivate or reoffend and return to prison after they are released. Some of you may be concerned that we should not be spending taxpayers' money on these programs and that prison should not be a vacation for criminals, but rather should be a deterrence in itself for reincarceration. Having worked in law enforcement for the past 15 years, I can tell you that prison is no longer the place it was a few decades ago. Prison has become a training ground where violent criminals share techniques with other inmates and where gangs form that spread violence throughout our city streets. These inmates are learning how to be better criminals. It is time that we stepped up as human beings and Christians and gave these inmates the right tools needed to become productive members of society. First, we must offer educational programs. In 2003, the Bureau of Justice reported that 68% of federal and state inmates do not have high school diplomas. There are two main reasons why researchers believe that educational programs benefit inmates. First is that cognitive reasoning impacts social behavior. And second, inmates learn to live a crime-free life by participating in these programs. In 2003 Forbes article, they stated that on average, reincarceration rates for participants of prison educational programs were 46% lower than non-participants. Next, we need to provide drug treatment programs. According to the Center on Addiction and Substance Abuse at Columbia University, 85% of current inmates suffer from drug addiction. In a Fox News study, 23% of all violent crimes and property crimes were committed by people who tested positive for drugs, and also that 71% of all males arrested in metropolitan areas also tested positive for drugs. This indicates that drug addiction fuels many criminal offenses. Without any form of treatment, once released from prison, offenders have a high risk of falling back into their drug habits and resorting back to committing crimes in order to support those habits. Lastly, we need to make job training available to inmates. A 2010 study of Missouri prisoners showed that recidivity rates were cut in half for former inmates with a full-time job compared to similar inmates that were unemployed. When ex-offenders have the means to support themselves and their families, there is no longer a drive to commit crimes to provide those necessities that they need. As Christians, we are instructed by Scripture to provide these services to those who are in need of guidance. Romans 15:1 states, "We who are strong have obligation to bear the weaknesses of those without strength and not just please ourselves." Philippians 2:4 states, "Do not merely look out for your own personal interest, but also for the interest of others." When we give someone the ability to change their life in a positive way, we are glorifying God, because we know that God values our attempts to help others, especially in their efforts to promote things that God values. I hope that I've been able to show you the need for these programs and how the statistics have shown the impact they have had. Thank you for your time.